What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down and answer the question, where may NIO stock bounce for the short term? Could we get a bounce relatively soon, or is NIO about to continue to crash? Now, before I break anything down about this, before I give you guys my price prediction for the near term and focus a little bit more on technicals in this video, because there wasn't really any major piece of news that just came out, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting, right? Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000, and any could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. Offer ends in just 3 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. NIO is only down 2.5% for the day, so it is starting to actually try to base around these levels, which is a pretty decent sign. And as long as we don't get any more major negative headlines, NIO could actually bounce over the next couple of days. And where may NIO bounce to, I'm going to actually talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Firstly, let's look at some real important data first about NIO. And what we could quite clearly see is price-price ratio has been dropping. It is slowing down in terms of the rate at which it's dropping because NIO is trying to base a bit. And if the market bounces, it most definitely could actually help NIO. You can see right here, there's a very strong correlation between NIO and the overall market. There's a strong correlation between NIO and the QQQ. And we could also compare this to like Tesla, for instance. You guys can see right here, NIO tends to actually run in a very similar manner as that of Tesla, as it's also correlated with the QQQ. Now, there's not really much else that's new in the data other than the fact that for Thursdays, NIO is green 51% of the time. And we're also seeing the short interest is still relatively low. This could start to go up, guys, so be very careful as the shorts begin to pile in more. Now, what I'm seeing for NIO is it's at a very, very key zone because, excuse me, sorry, guys. Looking back on the daily, okay, NIO is pretty close. Let me see, pretty close to these key levels around this 9.6 area, 9.67. Then we also have 9.5, 9.14. These are the zones where NIO actually ended up bouncing. So could NIO bounce relatively soon? That could also depend on the collective market. And that's why I want to break down SPY real quick and show you guys something very interesting. To me, SPY looks pretty weak as of right now. It's beginning to drop. It got a big rejection off this supply zone. And what I essentially see happening is we either could bounce or we have a little bit more downside to go before we bounce. And we may have one last rally before anything. Now, why do I think that? Well, when you look at this setup, we do have a potential inverse head and shoulders playing out. There's no guarantee it's going to play out, though, if you look at how weak we're looking on the right shoulder. So that's the first possibility, SPY like bouncing off this level. The second one is we come down to retest 374 to fill our gap from the past, and then we bounce off that. And the third possibility would be us bouncing off 370. So there are three areas where SPY should bounce off of, in my opinion, either right where it is, 374 or 370. And once it bounces, it has potential to actually push back to the 380s. It could even push back to 385 over the next week. It is still very possible because when you look at Apple, this is the main reason why SPY tanked. Apple closed at the lowest value we have seen since early 2021. So Apple is also at a very critical level. I'm not going to go into too many details about it. 125 or 121 are areas where Apple may bounce very soon, which could actually help the QQQ, the NASDAQ, and the whole market bounce a bit, SPY as well. And also on the QQQ, this thing is notorious for bouncing around 259 to 258-ish. And then there's also 254. At one of these levels, it should bounce, at least have a small counter rally, because it's been just selling off like crazy over the last few weeks. So I'm thinking, excuse me, sorry guys. I'm trying to rush through this video. I have something that came up, so I'm sorry about all the coughing and everything else. I can't really edit anything. I just have to rush. But anyways, I'm so sorry about that. Looking at the QQQ, 258 to 254 is where this thing should bounce. We're actually currently at about 260. We may even bounce right here, but I do expect there to be a small rally. Maybe we push back to gap resistance back to 270. This could be correlated with the market bouncing a bit. Tesla's already starting to bounce a little bit. If Tesla holds up, it's probably going to chop back and forth. This thing could go for the gap up here and the 120s. It is still possible. So with that said, what do I see happening to NIO? So far, NIO has not seen signs of a major bounce. I could see NIO retest 9.61, maybe 9.5, but if the market bounces, NIO could bounce and actually retest gap resistance around 10.5. That could still happen. All right. And I do believe that's going to happen over the next few days. It's just going to depend on the markets. So, anyways, guys, I just wanted to put it out there that look, NIO is not a dead cat in the water. It still has potential to make some pretty decent moves. Looking at the daily setup on NIO, it's quite oversold. We just had 4 major sell-off days in a row. And what typically happens, especially after we have like 5 major sell-off days, we tend to get a small bounce. We rarely ever see this much red in a row. There were other instances where NIO was selling off, like right here. But as you guys could see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell-off days before a bit of a bounce, like right here, and then any continuation. So when NIO drops like 4 or 5 days in a row, it tends to see a bounce shortly after. So another example would be like right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell-off days, small bounce. We currently just saw our 4th sell-off day. So I'm anticipating that maybe tomorrow could be a red day. Maybe we get a doji candle that forms, and then we see a small bounce on Friday, going into like 2023 start. It's also going to depend on NIO's numbers on deliveries, so we'll have to wait for that when the December numbers come out. But other than that, I mean, NIO's looking pretty okay. I wouldn't say it's like too horrible just yet because of the fact that NIO is very close to its supply. I'm sorry, its demand zones. It's very close to its stronger support levels. So I'm hoping for a small bounce for the near term. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. I want the best for everyone. I do apologize if this video is a little bit rushed, but I want to just put it out there. I do anticipate a small bounce back to the 10s over the next few days for NIO. It's going to be correlated with the market bouncing. And then after that, there should be a major sell-off to come as we approach the second week of January, in my honest opinion. So please be ready, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Do what you have to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.